This one came up yesterday or last night's reading of the news, and I gotta say, now let's just double check. No, it's at the right level. Okay, scratching my head. All right. I don't know. Okay, let's back it up. We talked last week about an article about the increasing level of faith in Gen Z, uh, in a cohort that, according to the statistics, should be walking away from organised faith and religion and things like that. Yet there are these increasing examples of people turning to not just a faith, but a very fundamentalist, a very conservative version of faith, which can be surprising. I remember years ago hearing that there's a rule of thumb that there is nothing more uh, fervent, fervent than the recent convert or a new convert. So somebody who's been raised in the faith and stayed in the faith generally isn't going to be out there on the street corner in people's faces, all that sort of stuff, as much as a fresh convert is going to be, because they've come in, they haven't been raised in it. I don't understand the psychology behind it, but it tends to be that is the case. I mean, zealot, that's the word I was trying to think of. If you're looking for where the zealots come from, in well, the people who's, well, no, I say zealot in terms of the historic use of the term of violence against the Romans, in terms of being very strict in their faith and pushing it on others, sort of thing. It tends, the observation was that it was the more recent converts did it, whereas those raised in it tend to like live and let live a lot more. That article that I'd read previously kind of hits an undercurrent of stuff that's sort of popped up in a few different places, suggesting that there is a conservative swing going on. Now, you could say it's like a pendulum effect. Well, I look at Australian politics as a pendulum effect. It swings one way for a few years, then it swings back, and most of the time it's spent in the middle. But this rise in, there's a bunch of polls and um, social research that sort of come up out of mainly the US, but I think I'm seeing it come out of other countries as well, which is suggesting that these younger generations, Gen Z and Alpha and whatnot, there is a very definite conservative swing going on. Um, Gen Y millennials are still seen as basically being very liberalized. Gen X, well, uh, indifferent, I guess. But the the youngest generation seem to have skipped the whole liberalized phase, the whole progressive phase that people tend to go through when they're younger. And it's one reason, I guess, there was sort of like big things about cottagecore and homesteading and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of an appeal back to, I guess, it's mythologized past, or a idealistic, idyllic pastoral existence. People have drifted that way, I guess. They're not heading directly down the prepper pathway, although some do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Um, Being a prepper isn't exactly uniquely a conservative thing either. There's some very, very liberalised people who are preppers. But the idea is that, or the observed swing in trends, is that there's this conservative undercurrent that's starting to bubble up, and it's not a silent conservative either. It's a more outwardly conservative approach. One example of which was when they had the protests on, I forget the US college campus that it was on, but there was a bunch of protesters, in essence, protesting the October 7th incident in Israel and Gaza, and they were protesting against Israel, but they targeted the US flag as well. And a fraternity came out to basically defend it, and they were, I guess, conservative. At least they appear to be conservative, and it caught the eye of obviously conservative commentators and stuff like that. That it was they celebrated the fact that there were young people willing to come out and defend what they felt America stood for. And there were obviously people protesting on the other side saying, no, it all goes the other way. But they were also saying, well, why target the US flag when the protest is in regards to an incident that took place, or a series of incidents taking place halfway around the world? Yeah, well, but anyway, this article comes up, and I guess one of the things that comes with that conservative swing as well is things like a push for a nuclear family, monogamy. I'm not saying people can't have had multiple partners over their life, but certainly a trend towards monogamy, a trend towards fewer partners, and I guess the nuclear family at some point. There was commentary I saw online from previously very liberal commentators who've undergone a conservative swing in their own time, talking about how the assumption, like how there was some research appearing about the role of motherhood and how it contributed or didn't contribute to the well-being of women and what they felt and how it projected and a bunch of other bits and pieces. And the articles that this commentator was talking to and about were basically saying that the people writing these articles and the researchers associated were surprised that apparently there was fulfillment from that women were feeling fulfilled from the role of motherhood. And it had gone against this social narrative that they'd believed in or had come to believe in because of who they'd listened to, where they'd learned, all that sort of bits and pieces. That was something that shouldn't exist or something that didn't exist. And so they're undergoing this reality check to some extent, a readjustment of their understanding of what was going on. Then to see an article like this pop up, okay, not tied to that other stuff, but it made me stop and think. Okay, it's an attention-grabbing headline. I will say, having read the article, they do talk in relatively glowing terms about various aspects of an affair. It's almost like they try to change the definition of it, change what it represents, change what it means in order to meet certain outcomes that they want to focus on. It's based on a couple of reports. Now, I haven't actually gone and read the original report that's linked here, but whether that's self-reported or they've actually gone out and done a proper study, I suspect, given the numbers, it may be self-reported online. So therefore, the cohort it's attracting has already self-selected. But I'll go and have. I mean, it should be worth going and have a look. The fact the study was undertaken and the quality of the study is now almost immaterial because this whole big article's come out, and it raises the question about what the moral compass is that not only the media that it's published in takes, but also the audience they're publishing this article for. Who is the audience for? Who are they targeting with the article? Are they just writing something salacious to attract eyeballs and revenue and things like that? No, I don't think it's that cynical. It certainly seems very earnest in what it says. Like, it seems that the author very much believes what is there, and that they, in a way, don't feel that the content of what they're writing about is anything abhorrent or morally repugnant. They've come into it with the idea initially that an affair is repugnant, that is to be, um, well, you shouldn't be chasing it for a start. But in in the article, they basically then take the opposite position, or they present counter arguments that well, actually it's not too bad if you have an affair. It seems to be justifying the moral position of going through an affair. Of well, you feel bad for doing it, but oh, look, here's here's a bunch of moral reasons we've moralized that you can then feel good about what you're doing. There's a reason people feel bad when they have an affair. It's because it's dishonest to the partner they've committed to. Now, some people have these ideas of open relationships, though I don't think I've ever seen or heard of one succeeding where people have an equal role in the relationship or people feel equally the same. I mean, usually it's one of the people is like, oh no, it's all good, and they're the ones that would have cheated anyway. But the it seems like the article feels like an attempt to justify an action that many still see as immoral, or that people still see as uh, unfaithful, as being a black mark on your moral character. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, it attracts eyeballs. Attracted my eyeballs. I went and had a look, and it it's like, well, again, an article like this sets a moral standard in both the media and the targeted audience and things like that. And it comes at like I said, it comes at a time when there seems to be a swing back towards conservatism of some extent. And this, well, I mean, if you're looking at it as a battle of ideologies, this article is batting for the other side. Is taking a shot at that by saying relationships can be very, very successful if they're not monogamous. That infidelity is fine. And it's like, well, that's a very dangerous argument to take. Relationships rely on trust, and uh, if well, if one party has moralized their infidelity and faithfulness, that trust connection is well most often broken. If someone says, "Oh no, that's fine," okay, that's weird. Uh, it basically does away with a lot of couples therapy. Oh no, we've moralized it away. It's all good. No, it certainly just feels like they're justifying their own actions or justifying the actions to feel good about what happened. Now they talk not just about the physical aspects of infidelity. They're talking about it from the point of view that well maybe people are being unfaithful because they're looking for uh, they're looking for the emotional connection again. They're feeling emotionally bereft in their existing relationships. That can also be true, the fact that existing relationships fall into an emotional wasteland because people stop trying, because people don't know how to communicate, people don't understand each other's needs. Great, go get therapy, go get couples therapy, work out how each other operates, or end the relationship if it's that bad. The but moralizing the point that oh, it's okay to be unfaithful if you go to someone else to get that emotional connection back. Um, hmm, no, that's not acceptable. But the author here and the major newspaper feels that it is acceptable to do that. Now, the problem of intimacy in terms of non-sexual contact is actually quite a big thing. There have been articles over the years how quite a lot of sex workers find themselves not just involved in the physical aspects of sex work, but they almost take on a role of therapist, and that they find that they will over time, develop clients who come to them, regular clients, who come to them more for a intimacy or a emotional connection more than a physical connection. Reading, particularly some of the high-end escorts and stuff like that, that's where this whole idea of the girlfriend experience has come out of, is they've realized that, well, men are still seeking this emotional connection. Men aren't these completely non-emotional beings. They have a need to feel wanted, to feel loved, to feel that emotional connection with somebody. And if they're missing that in their existing relationships, and this is where infidelity rolls in. Solution, again, go to therapy. Work out how to communicate with each other. Realize that it's all parties in the relationship. Both partners have a role and have a responsibility for ensuring the well-being and care of the other. If once people stop putting the other person first, not at complete cost to themselves, don't set yourself on fire to keep the other person warm. But once they stop putting the other person first and looking at their needs um, and looking after them, well, why are you in that relationship? And it tends to explain one big reason why people wander. But again, the article here is like, oh, no, it's okay to be doing that. Um, well, I mean, again, towards the very end of the article, they finally admit that, oh, yeah, people feel shame and remorse and things like that. But, oh, wait a second, you can have an affair and come out stronger on the back end. Hmm. Again, justifying a position. Yeah. I wonder whether it was an attempt to offset that not creeping, that conservative swing that may be happening. It just seemed to stand out